Well, good evening, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Lewis coming to you at for office hours during week 9. Today, I will go over 2 problems in addition to answering any questions, but it looks like there's no participants yet. So let's go ahead and get started on question number 2 or problem number 2. I know I have one for 4 and 5, which covers the same information, same process of calculating sales, gross profit, cost of goods sold, stuff of that nature. But I figured since I don't have number 2 and number 7 in the playlist, I might as well do this. So you'll notice, I'll start off with just my Excel file. I've done this several different times, not this specific problem, but I've done this inventory evaluation thing several different times. I usually use the same type of approach. So I'm going to go ahead and create another one exactly like I've done before, just so you get to see it in practice again. And we'll do this hopefully big enough so you can see everything. Let me put this over here, and let me put this over here so you can do it kind of side by side. What we do want to do first, though, is scrape off the information. So let's go ahead and pick off what we have here so we can have it just for reference over here, paste values. Yeah, well, that one doesn't matter, does it? Let's do this one though. Pull off all this information, copy, and let's paste the values here. Paste values. It didn't really work either. Okay, well, I'm not having any luck. So let's go ahead and do the old-fashioned way. Let's just copy what's here, because that's what you're going to have to do at some level as well. So we have the date, we have the activity, and I'll truncate some of these so that we, and I like to do first the acquired in one column. We'll do, let's see, units or quantity, price, and let's say value. Okay. And we've got 1, 1, 1, 10, 1, oops, 120, 125, 130. Okay, so we just keep these all kind of separate, but this is beginning inventory. This is a sale. This is a purchase. This is a sale. And this is a purchase. Okay. And we've got 159, 79, and 180 for a total. Actually, let's do it right here. Total. And we'll do a sum. And we'll sum up all these. Sorry, I'm using my keyboard a lot. So this is how I do it. So I do it faster. And then the price is $6 here, $5 here, and $4.50. So if we did this right, we would do equals that times this, and we would get the value. I'm just going to carry it all the way down, and 954, 395, and 810. We can do the same thing here, do a sum of everything that's here, and that should give us 2159. Now we can go ahead and calculate the weighted average of these things, and let's just take the cost divided by the units. So weighted average inputs is $5.65. We'll round that to the nearest 10 cents. And why don't we just give these all a little facelift, give them a little number. Okay, so that's all of our acquisitions. These are our sales. Now, we're not going to put them in like they did it. We're going to do this so that, let's just copy this over. So that gives us our sales, right? And we'll take these out. We can leave the price there. That'll keep it a little simpler. Actually, no, we will keep the price here. Take those out because this is all sales, right? Okay. So on the sales side, we have 81, units sold for $15. And we have 99 units sold for $15. Okay, let's make this a little bit bigger. So this is our sales side. Okay. So they're doing a periodic basis. So theoretically, periodic, that's the big question here, right? Company uses a periodic inventory system. So it's not perpetual. So that means it's not taking it as it's happening, it's taking it at the end of the month. So we'll have to figure out how these 180 units get distributed either on a LIFO, FIFO, specific cost, or and a weighted average standpoint. So if we do that, then we're going to do inventory out. And we'll copy this over. And let's make sure that we can still see all this stuff. So let me view this with a, want to freeze the pane. And there we go, freeze the pane. Okay, so now I can do an inventory out, and I can also do a copy an ending inventory. Inventory. Now I won't need all those, but we'll get there. Okay, so let's also then come over here and on a LIFO basis, on a FIFO basis, on a weighted average basis, and then let's do a specific identification basis. I'm just gonna, and we want the sales, we want the cost of goods sold, and we want a gross margin for each of these. Probably make these a little bit easier to do. I bring this over here, and I just bring these over here. I'm going to keep the screen a little bit closer. And this one, just bring it back over here. Okay. Now, the easy part actually is the sales side, because sales is sales. It's always going to be the same. So it's going to be this $2,700 across all these. Okay. I'm hitting F2 to open it up, and then I control enter, and it puts it all over there. That didn't really work very well. So we'll do that. We'll do that, and we'll do this. Okay. So now we have all the sales side. The margin is going to be the sales minus the cost of goods sold, right? We'll just do this. This one will actually work. There we go. Okay. Now we just have to figure out what the cost of the goods sold were. So I'm going to put little squares around here so that it makes it easier to break this up a little bit. Let's put a little square around here. Square border. There we go. Sales. F4 gives me a duplicating what I just did. I won't need all these things. Yeah, I will need it there. We won't use all these, but we'll just go ahead and put a box around it. Okay. So now, I need to sell stuff. Okay, so I have on a LIFO basis, we're going to go last in, first out. So that means we start from the top, last in, first out. We start from the bottom. I hope everybody catches that. We're going to start from the bottom. We're going to go up, and we're going to move this 180 sales out of inventory. Okay, out of these purchases. This will be kind of the easiest way, I think, at least the way I see it, to do it. So let's make this a little bit bigger so that we can actually get everything on one thing. Let's make this bigger. That didn't really work very well. We'll bring that back over in a little bit. Okay, so now we should be able to see, yeah, everything there. All right, so what we want to do is we want to do last in, first out. Let's copy these over first. Copy so we can get our totals, because we want to get to 180, right? 180 units out. So last in, first out. So we want to take all of what we can from this one right here. So that's happens to be 180. So that's where we stop. And we're going to do it at that value. And so we're going to do that times that. So, and we'll just copy this all the way up just in case we do something different for the other ones. So we should have $810 in inventory. And so now what this should do on this ending inventory, we're going to take the quantity minus the acquired minus the inventory out. That'll give us quantity, and we know the price. We'll just bring this over here, make that easy. We'll just save that all the way down F2. And so now we can just do that times this. Now I know some of you are very smart and you figure out a shortcut without doing the Excel file, and that works just for you. That works great for you, but it's not easily repeatable because I can now take this, once I've done this one on the exam, I can repeat this for however many times this problem shows up, and I can guarantee you it'll show up more than once. So either you can do it, find a way of doing it faster, more efficiently than this, or you can use this method. Anyway, so that should be that. Okay, so then we'll just, since this is a formula, we'll just copy this all the way down too. Okay, so now I've got all my remaining inventory. Okay, so this is my ending inventory balance. This is what cost of goods sold is associated with the $2,700 in sales, 180 units, 180 units. These two are exactly the same. So now I should be able to put down 810 for my value, and that automatically changes. Put this in a nice format. This automatically changes the gross margin, so I know what that one is. We'll go back and we'll put these numbers in later, but let's do the calculations and then come back. So now let's take away what we had here. Now we're going to do FIFO. That's first in, first out. So that's going to be these first ones, right? So we have 180. That means of the 159 in this batch, I can use all that, and I still have some left over. Now I only have, what do I have? I have about, an easy way of doing this would just be saying, take that minus this, and that'll tell me how many I have left. Okay, so I got 21 left to pull out. Now I can take 21 out of this one, and I can't take any of that. That gives me 180. This is bugging me too. So let's do that. Okay, so now we've got inventory out, but we don't have the prices. Oh, that's because I zeroed this out. Duh, my bad. We'll just use all of these. Okay. So now we have inventory out. This was 0 of 1,059. That's your cost of goods. Okay. And, oh, we might want to do ending inventory just in case it asks us that. Ending in inventory. This is 100. See, just in case, in like this case, if I forgot that I needed this information, it'd be easy for me just to come back in here and take that out, put 180 in here, and now I've got 1349. Okay, there's another way of doing that, but I just figured that would be an easy start. Yeah, because the other option, let's show you the other option. The other option would have been to take this acquired value minus went out to inventory, which is this cost of goods. That will give you your ending inventory because you already have the purchases in here. Beginning plus purchases minus sales or cost of goods gives you your ending inventory. That's one way of doing it. The other way is just plugging it in from this other value. Okay, take that out. Okay, now weighted average is pretty simple. This one really, you don't have to worry about this. You just have to worry about number of units times the weighted average. So this is going to be 180 times 5.17. Okay, and using the calculation I did over here, we can do the same thing where we can take the inventory, beginning inventory plus purchases minus the cost of goods will give you the ending inventory. Now, specific identification is the one where it probably throws a lot of people off. So let's pull this back over. Actually, let's do this way. Sorry. And let's put this back over here, somewhere around here. Okay. Now, on specific identification, it says, oops, going too fast. Scrolling to the right too fast. Okay. It says that ending inventory consists of 238 units, right? Where 180 were from the January 30 purchase. Okay, so that's going to stay there. 5 were from the January 30. So this one, that means if there's 5 there, that means we need to move 74 out. Okay, that leaves me 5 here. And 53 are from the beginning. So that means essentially 106 are from this one, right? 53, 5, 180. So now I have specific identification, and that gives me 106 in cost of goods sold. 1006, right? And if I want my ending inventory, I can do the same thing. I can take total minus cost of goods, gives me 1,153. So now the big question is, did I get this right? And so if we go back, okay, well, let's see, let's make this, how do we do this so we can still see it, but still have room to fill everything out? Let's move this over a little more. I think we can do that. Okay, there we go. So these numbers, right? 2,700 all the way across, right? Cost of goods sold is 810, 1059. Oops, weighted average 930.60. Oh, I rounded it to the nearest round cost per unit to 2 decimal points. And final answers to the nearest whole dollar. Okay, it did it for me. Perfect. Okay, and then FIFO is 1,059. And oh, that was crazy. LIFO is 810. And specific identification 1006. Okay, so now I should have those all right. 1006, 1694, 1769, 1641, 1890. Okay, let's check my work. What do you know? All right. Okay, so now on requirements 2 and 4, which method yields the highest gross profit? Well, gross margin, gross profit, okay, synonymous in many places. Highest number is LIFO. Oops, return to question. Highest number is LIFO. Does gross profit using weighted average fall between that using FIFO and LIFO? So weighted average is gross profit. Is that between these two? Answer is yes. If costs were rising instead of falling, which method would you yield the highest gross profit? Oh, mercy. If prices were falling, well, were rising instead of falling. Rising instead of falling, what method would yield the highest gross profit? Well, that's a great question. I always love this one because this is sort of counterintuitive. So if your costs are rising, which is the opposite of this, we know that on last in, first out, it was taking your last cost as the basis. So if it was rising, this would be, let's say, $6 and this would be $4.50. So your cost of goods sold would be higher for this one versus FIFO. Because this would be 6 and this would be 450. Just swap the numbers, right? So effectively, this would swap as well. And so what would yield the highest gross profit? Well, if in this one, LIFO was the highest gross profit, then first in, first out would be, what would yield the highest for rising instead of falling? This is a question. This is a trick question. It's decreasing here. Costs are decreasing. And with that, LIFO had the highest gross margin. But if it were doing just the opposite, then I would say FIFO would have the highest gross profit. It would just be the opposite of what you see there. So I'm going to say FIFO. Let's check my work. Oh, well, you know, okay. So you just have to, I mean, you could redo this whole thing and see which one gave you the amount, but you know, you could also do it in your head like I did and come up with it. Hope that helps. All right, let's move on to number 7.